Back again with the next episode of Let Me Be Frank podcast with myself, Simon Houston, Frank McAvenny, and another West Ham striking legend, Carlton Cole joins us. Carlton, how are you? Good, thanks for coming on.
I'm good, Simon. How are you doing, Frank?
I'm all right, Carlton. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm not too
West Ham
bad.
keep you busy?
I'm not classed as a legend, I don't think. A cult hero, maybe. I would
you're
say
always
that.
a legend.
Hero.
The legend fans look at you as a legend, mate. Don't worry about that. Trust me. I'm down there a lot.
A few more smiles among the West Ham support after the weekend, because it was a tricky old start to the season, but things improved a wee bit, eh?
Yeah, it's been really good for the fans over the weekend. Nice one to look forward to, actually, after the game, because obviously they've probably been getting a hard time with the other fans saying, listen, look how much you guys have spent, new manager, nothing's going your way, not playing too well. But I did say it on the Friday on the Sports Bar Weekender, talkSPORT. I'll just a quick plug there. Yeah, that basically we were due to give someone a thumping, and I just felt that it was the right time. Ipswich, newly promoted team, there was no way those boys were going to go and roll over and die. They're going to want to impose themselves on a team like Ipswich. Although Ipswich have done well, but the style of play kind of suited West Ham and catch them where it really hurt.
Yeah. I like the back four because I don't know about you. You get your favourites, but I'm not keen on the Greek boy. But he seems to give a gift away every game. But I thought the boy come in with Kilman. I thought that's going to be the partnership surely going forward.
Yeah, listen, taking nothing away from Mavropanos.
I know, I'm joking.
He's been good. Last season he came in. Remember, he was actually at Arsenal when he was younger, and then he went away, got better, came back, bought him, and he done his job for us last season. And this season now he's got some stiff competition for places, and I could see. Probably we're gonna have to look at the partnerships. What is the best partnership? Todibo, obviously, Jean-Claude. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for the action. He wasn't up to pace. I think the manager tried him a couple of times, and it just didn't work out for him. But now he's gone back to the drawing board. He's trained really well. He's got back in. He's had a great game on the weekend, so onwards and upwards for him. But then now you got Mavropanos wanting to get back in as well, which is going to be good for the team because competition for places only makes you better. And however you want to look at it, and whoever the best partnership is, I know that the manager Lopetegui's got that in mind.
Yeah, well, there's nothing better than competition. I've always said that about footballers. You know, but the boy has came in. He's made a couple of ricks. I thought. I didn't know that he wasn't up to scratch, the boy Tobago, and I thought, I didn't know he wasn't ready. And I'm thinking, why would you spend money and not play him? You know, I knew there was something.
I understand fully what you're saying, but there's sometimes when, obviously, remember, there's a turnover of 21 players. There's 9 coming in, you know, and a lot of people will say, okay, why isn't he playing straight away? The manager sees him every day in training. We know how it is. We could have a top-class player come in and not just hit the ground running. He wanted to make him ready because it was a big money signing. He's come across from France. He knows exactly what to expect with the league. Lopetegui does, actually, but this boy doesn't. So Lopetegui's kind of covering him and then feeding him in slowly. But we wouldn't have noticed if the results weren't so bad. So it was just because the results weren't going in our favour. That's why we've gone, okay, where's that player? Where's this player? Do you know what I mean? That's all. It always happens like that. So, and I don't think he wanted to shy away from the plan and feeding these boys in slowly. I don't know if you remember last season when Kudus, he didn't play straight away under Moyes. Everyone was thinking, hold on a minute, you've got this boy from Ajax. He looks like a world beater. Where is he? And he was coming on probably 20 minutes to go here, 15, 30 minutes to go sometimes. And he wasn't really starting. It's only when he started one game, then he really, and he felt that he was up to the scratch of the pace of the league. That's when we started seeing his qualities. But I prefer it when it's like that. I don't like when you sometimes throw these boys in the deep end. I'd rather them be fed in slowly, and the transition is really good as well, because the player that was there before him don't feel as shunned. He's had his chance and he gets a game, and it's better to marinate it like that and merge it. For me, anyway, that's what I would do if I was a gaffer.
It was a bit like the same as me. It took me about 10 minutes to settle in when I came down for Scotland.
Only the 10, yeah.
Only the 10. But it's good that you spoke about Kudus, because we were talking off air. A shame how the media and the social media especially get a hold of this. The boy went to watch, he took off last week, he wasn't happy with the manager, and then he went to watch Arsenal in a European tie. And all of a sudden he's going to Arsenal, and I'm thinking he may just have been wanting, he may have friends in one of the teams. You know, it's but people put two and two together and come up with 5. It's a shame.
Well, you know, it is a speculation. There's nothing there to say, yeah, that's the real deal. That's the real conversation that's being had. I doubt it very much.
Oh, I know.
You got the other thing of the class agents as well, trying to get something out of it, trying to shop him around a little bit and making us feel a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah. But it's just the way of the game. The owners know exactly what's going on. No one's coming for him. I know that no one's coming for him just yet. But you're going to always, when you're playing well, you're always going to have speculations about going to this club, going to that club. Listen, West Ham are a growing club. You got to understand that as well. We want the best players. And if we got a scouting network that goes and finds potentially great players, then when they get over here and do really well, you start to see the bigger teams coming in saying, "Oh, we want to put some money down for him." But as I know, as I'm aware, no one's come in for him just yet.
Am I not right in saying he's got quite an attractive buyout clause though? It's quite low, is it not?
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, the boy has got so much talent. It's actually bewildering to me that Antony, that plays for Manchester United, and Kudus that played for Ajax. Antony was at Ajax and Kudus was at Ajax. They were both in the same team. Manchester United, as big as they are, went and got Antony instead of Kudus. So we was like, I couldn't believe it myself, because you've seen the performances Antony's been pulling out. Not much, not much to say the least. And then you look at how Kudus has been playing, you say he's the better player. So I can't believe we actually got him, and I'd have thought would have been lumbered with Antony.
Well, sorry, I watched social media today.
But I'd have said
some of the things about Antony was unbelievable skill.
Yeah,
and then he
looks great on YouTube. Everyone looks great. I look like Cristiano Ronaldo on YouTube, mate. Like, you just have to cut it up. And the editing is unbelievable. So it looks great on YouTube, but when you see the real deal, it's not the same, is it? We all know that.
Yeah. Sadly, YouTube wasn't around when you were doing your thing, Frank.
Mate, I know Macca would have been probably worth about 100 million back then.
I know,
if you had YouTube clips out, it'd have been worth 100 million back then.
Unfortunately, it's just old grainy black and white images of you.
I know. So, don't need to go there.
Am I right? Frank was saying, are you doing a bit of work with West Ham at the moment, Carl?
Yeah, working for them.
Oh yeah, so listen, I've been at the club now, I think 18 years, all in all, playing, and now I was on the coaching staff, and then I've kind of transitioned into the loans manager there. So I am learning on the job. Don't get me wrong, but I'm one of those characters that you'll understand. Mac has met me. I always want to learn. I always want to get better at what I want to do as well. I feel I've got a lot of empathy towards this role. Being a loans manager, I feel that when I was on loan, when I was at obviously Chelsea, my Chelsea days, I didn't really get the support on the field or off the field by my parent club, which was Chelsea at the time. And I was left to my own devices, and I got into a lot of trouble off the field.
Right,
you know, as a young lad, got a little bit of money in your pocket, and it's not going well for you, and you haven't got the right advice around you. You're not actually focusing on the football. You can get sidetracked really quickly, and you don't feel loved as well by your parent club. Yeah. So you just crack on and doing other things, and it's really hard, Si. And Mac will tell you, like, you do need that support as a young player coming through, because it could go left very quickly. So that's what I've come. That's the energy I'm coming with at this role, and it's not just about put this player in this club and see how he does and then try and support him. It's got to match up. So I use a lot of data. I use a lot of people and personnel that have got the expertise at the club as well to support me, and they've been nothing but short of brilliant. I can get into doors, obviously. If I say I've got to play up in Bristol City, I'll be welcomed through the doors, and I could go and watch training. I can go and see how they're settling in. I can do all these little things, little perks that if you are liked, you would be able to get through the door. But if you're not liked, it doesn't matter who you are. They'll probably say no. They'll try and keep you at arm's length. So I've got the personality to try and help me with that role at the moment. So it's all binding together.
That's great, and it was brilliant for the boys as well, knowing that they've got someone, is looking out for them and batting for them at West Ham as well.
Listen, I was when I was younger, and even when I broke into the first team, I didn't even feel that I had the support of my peers who was in that first team as well. So I know it is a lonely place sometimes when you don't feel welcome. So sometimes if you got someone to pick up the phone to, and it's a senior pro that's been through the mill, it understands it and gets it. That is just a weapon that you've got to keep in your back pocket. And most of these boys call me on a daily basis if they need anything. Hopefully they don't, because I've already talked to their manager. I've talked to their player care over there, and they should be fine. But if there's anything else that they need, I'll be there to support them. And that's the main thing, really, the support and actually going through their games and making sure that they play well. Because at the end of the day, I've got a job and a reputation to keep as well. And I wanna climb up the ladder in football. So if I do this job right, you never know what comes up after.
The great thing about it is who better to phone than somebody that's been there, seen it, done it, and you're well known about the club, and it's great. I mean, I think every club should have ex-players with characters walking about. Because some of the players nowadays some of the players nowadays, they're just not getting a cut. They would get earphones on, they just walk about and they're in their own world. And I'm thinking that's wrong. I mean, you would have loved the dressing rooms that I shared because you've got the character to do it. There's a lot of boys in this day of football they wouldn't spend a week in the dressing rooms that I spent time in. But I loved it because it was character.
I know. Listen, listen. When I was at West Ham, our character that we had. So I saw contrast because I went on loan to Aston Villa. I went on loan to Charlton. I went on loan to Wolves. I was at obviously Chelsea and West Ham. West Ham by far was full of characters, and it was a contrast to see those type of characters in one building because it shouldn't have happened. And the fact that we're actually playing okay football, it was a miracle because the shenanigans that were going away from the pitch was traumatic to say the least. But yeah, we had great time. Your dressing room probably was unbelievable as well. You must have some characters in there, and it was, but gone. Those days are gone. Like your days were probably even crazier than ours. Ours was probably watered down because by then the Italian regime had come through, was eating pasta, our diet had changed. It wasn't going to the pub after for a stretch. Going to a pub for a stretch, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or debrief on how the day's gone. You know, we didn't do all of that. So we was a bit more strategic in our approach, but you guys were gung-ho.
Yeah, we just done what we want. You're right, we did. But it was good. We had Tony Gale, we had him on the show. We had him in the dressing room, so every day he was winding someone up, and it was brilliant. You know, it was good. It was never a dull moment, put it that way. And then with everyone else in the dressing room, it was great fun.
So when I was kind of researching this before earlier today, Carlton, I noticed what you've got in common with Frank. There's a few things.
You not know this.
So obviously you both played for West Ham, striker. You both played for Aston Villa. You both played for Celtic. And a big one, you both scored against Stranraer.
There you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
there you go. We've got a lot in common, mate.
Before we go on to talk about the Stranraer goal, I've got to ask you about that crazy goal at Inverness.
Oh, don't remind me.
I think you said. I think you described that as one of your greatest goals of your career. You didn't even get credit.
Was. So you got to understand, like, what a way to introduce yourself to the Celtic faithful, eh?
Have you seen that goal yet?
No, I've not seen it.
I've done a roly-poly and it's come off my hand and it's gone bottom corner. And I couldn't believe where I was. I was like, is this real?
Did you go and celebrate?
What a goal that was. And yeah, it's probably I'm saying it's probably my best goal because I didn't get rewarded for it though, because I couldn't really put my hand up and say, I scored that, because it actually touched my hand and went in. So when I done the roly-poly, it was my hand it hit and went in. So they didn't give me the goal in the goal.
So it was an assist.
But I wanted it as my goal if it was in a different world. Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about your time at Celtic because I mean, you played for some big clubs, but even down south, I suppose, looking up at a club like Celtic, you must think, I mean, that's as big as it gets, isn't it?
Listen, for me, I was so disappointed with my time there, to be honest with you, because I knew how big the club was. It was just the timing that I went there at that time. I think it wasn't good for me personally in my life. I wanted something like that, but I just don't think I was ready for the pressure that came with up there. I think as soon as I got there, I just had bad luck straight away. I was training, trying to get a contract, then my calf went. It popped, and it was my first time my calf ever had popped, and I couldn't believe it. So I had to wait another 2 months until I got fit again. By that time, I was trying to get a contract because I was thinking I'm trying to prove my fitness. Then I get my fitness, I try and get into the team. I'm used sparingly because the manager wants me to play a certain other way. He wants me to run the channels whilst Lee Griffiths down the middle scoring the goals. And I said, listen, I'm a target man. I don't run the channels. Plus, I'm not age to be doing that. I'm 30 odd years old now. You can't be expecting me to do all of that. I'm not that type of player. I'm not going to change my game now. If you didn't know what you were getting, why am I here? Sure. You know, so it was a little bit. It was, and the excuses that was given to me wasn't great. That I wasn't playing, because I knew if I was playing with Lee, would have scored a bag of goals. Oh, he was scoring at will at that time, anyways. Yeah. So I don't think I was needed, but I felt like I was a little bit. I weren't looked after the way I thought I should have been up there. Yeah. It was disjointed, and you got to understand, I was at West Ham for nearly 10 years. So going from that to seeing, because from the outside at the time, Celtic looked like it's a massive club if you're looking at it from the outside. But when you go in and you see, it was a little bit Mickey Mouse. Mm-hmm. It wasn't great. There were for me, the medical team was essential to keep me going and keep me fit. But there were two. It was divided. There was the Old Faithful, the Scottish medical team, and then there was where was he from again?
He was Norwegian. Roddy Dyler.
Yeah, so Roddy Dyler was from Norway, and there was the Norwegian medical team as well. Yeah. And they couldn't really agree, the two medical teams. So you kind of, when you went in, you had to pick a side as a player. It was just really weird for me. And that was just one of the things. But I'm not saying it was just that, but I'm just saying I wasn't mentally prepared for all of these things, and it culminated into me not performing.
Yeah, it was a very strange time in Celtic's history as well, that period, because obviously Rangers weren't around at that point. They weren't in the top league, you know, so Celtic kind of had that almost like a kind of free run at the Scottish title.
What happened to Rangers?
Eh? Oh, don't you start. We've had enough Celtic Rangers fans arguing in the comments section.
I know, sorry.
What happened to Rangers? You can answer that one. No, but it was a time where I mean, they didn't have that pressure, you know, of being challenged by Rangers in the kind of, and Ronnie Dyler obviously had a kind of a couple of years there, and you know, some people liked him, other folk weren't as big fans, but you got an opportunity to wear the famous hoops. So
that's what I'm proud of. You know, I got that opportunity to wear the famous hoops, man. And when you look at that, that's an achievement in its own. Because really and truly, I was offered to go there before I went to West Ham. So that was I had a meeting with Bolton, with Sam Allardyce before I was going to leave. I think it was in 2005-06 season, I think it was. And then I'd done a medical at Spurs. That didn't go through. Celtic were one of the other ones, but I wanted to stay in the Premier League. And that was my main goal, my main thing that I needed to do. So when I was eventually offered to go to Celtic, I just said yes. That's what I wanted for my life and my career. But it was just the wrong timing. Everything didn't match up. So that's why I don't think it worked the way I thought it should have.
You're in such good company, because there's, played for Celtic and West Ham. There's myself, Paolo, Madman DiCanio, and there's John Hartson. There's 4 of us that play. I think there's 4 of us. Stuart Slater, little Stuart Slater, he's an element. So there's 5 of us. So that's not bad.
Listen,
good 5-a-side team.
Yeah. It's an elite conversation that, playing for both teams like West Ham and Celtic. It's an elite conversation. So, listen, any young player that that think they're good enough to go and don those colours, the Celtic colours and the West Ham colours, you will never be disappointed, because the only thing I was disappointed, as I said, was that. But then after the after effect, when I even get recognised walking down the street, and someone goes, "Oh, that's Carlton Cole," and it's a Celtic fan, I'm like taken back by it. I'm thinking, that's fucking great, isn't it? Like, and I didn't even play that well for you guys, but you still respect me.
But as we say, you wore the hoops.
Yeah. Once you wear the hoops, they'll respect you. And I didn't disrespect them in any way. They just knew it was just bad timing, and they knew that. And the way the crowd adopted my song as well, the Spandu Ballet song that West Ham fans used to sing for me, that was endearing as well. So I was really happy with the fans, and it just didn't work out. I was so upset about that.
So another one of your ex-clubs, Aston Villa. Celtic are playing Aston Villa in the Champions League, and Frank's looking for tickets, by the way. Just address that to the camera.
Yeah.
All our new viewers, something to help you. That was an interesting one as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when I look at that game, I'm thinking it's because listen, even my time at Villa, that's when I was on loan, obviously, and I didn't have the best of times up there because I couldn't settle in. Because you gotta understand, I'm actually a mummy's boy. I love being at home. I love my mum's cooking. So when I went up there, out of London, first time properly ever on my own, I was just bombing up and down the motorway, so I weren't really catching any sleep. So after training, I'd go straight to my mum's. My mum just lives off the M25 in London, and then and in the morning I'd leave early, like 5:30, and then bomb up the motorway again for training. So I was doing this every day, not knowing that this is going to catch up with me, and I'm going to be tired for games, tired for training, and I'm not going to be giving my best. It was just I had a flat up there, but I just didn't like living alone. Funnily enough, I look at that period as quite a blessing in my life, because that's when I met my wife. So she was coming up with me as my girlfriend, obviously, and at the time, and then we got really close, and then she stayed up there a few times with me then, but she used to work down in London, so I used to bomb down London, drop her off, and mate, the amount of mileage I'd done in my car.
Things you do for the women, mate.
I could never think about doing that now, doing that, because your mind, when you're young, you just got that in your head. I'm going now, I'm off. As you get older, you're thinking, what was I doing back then? Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, but I had some good friends over at Villa at the time, and I had obviously the manager at the time was David O'Leary, and he tried to be as supportive as he could, but he wasn't great with man management, I would say. So I needed him a little bit more than he thought to try and help me with my settling up there. Also, I made some good friends, Darius Vassell, J. Lord Samuel, God rest his soul. And even Delaney was up there. There was loads of players up there. One Pablo Angel at the time. Olof Melberg was really influential as well as a captain, and he taught me another way to lead. So I had a good time there. So now going into the game, I would look at this game as an exciting game. Villa, you can see what they're about. Yeah. And it looks like they're they're doing a lot in the game now because they're just really up for it now. They really got this quality that you could think, wow, these lot could go all the way this time.
Really good manager.
Yeah, they've got a great manager, but they've got that team bond. You know, the team bond where never say die. You know what I mean? Never say never. They're there. And
a lot of people don't agree with that. They say you don't need that, but you do need that. I don't care what anyone says. You need that bond.
Yeah,
in the dressing room.
You need that
people that will fight for you.
When the chips are down, that's when it comes to fruition. It's all
great when you're winning.
When you're doing well, when everyone's winning, that's brilliant. Like that's you say, yeah, that's team bonding. But when the chips are down and you're not getting that result, that team bond, that's when it kicks in. That's the reserves, and that's what you need to be a successful team.
On the subject of Villa versus Celtic in the Champions League, you've probably been looking at the fallout after Celtic's 7-1 defeat in Dortmund, and the big debate up here is about Brendan Rodgers kind of refusing to change his style and trying to go toe-to-toe with the best teams in Europe and attack them and then getting a thumping. That'll probably be an issue. It won't be a similar issue against Villa. They're obviously a different type of team.
We've got Atalanta first.
We've got Atalanta as well.
Away.
But and there's probably similarities with Ange Postecoglou, who obviously preceded Brendan Rodgers at Celtic, but similar with what's going on at Spurs, you know.
Well, Simon, you've got to understand, managers nowadays, that's the trend. Like, it's my way or the highway. This is what you've employed, and this is what I'm going to do. This is how I work. Now, for me, I don't agree with it. I think I think what you got to look at is having a plan B now and a plan C. Now, you can have your plan A, but the problem is, how do you get the boys to buy into the plan B? Now, the plan B could be anything. It could be a long ball, hit the channels. It could be something different to what you're doing. And where do this team get to practice the plan B? So I think it should be employed at some stage in the season where you've got to kind of feed it into the lads so they understand both ways of playing. And if you're really good at management and tactics, then you could fit in a plan C somewhere. Do you know what I mean? But the plan A, stick with that. We're not saying that it doesn't work. Sometimes it will work, sometimes. But in the game, you have to have a different approach when it's not working.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Brendan's, but the thing is, when you go into Europe and you're playing middle to front, I haven't got a problem with Celtic.
Yep.
But if you go into Europe, unfortunately, the boys at the back in Celtic are not good enough for that level. So to go gung-ho and leave the defenders on their own,
or even just try to pass themselves out of trouble.
Pass out of trouble.
Aye,
they're not good enough. When you come up against good boys, you give them a chance to score in Europe. They get away with it in Scotland.
Now that's where the trust of the manager has to come in. Now, if you're a centre half, right, and you've been playing a certain way and you've been winning games like this, and then all of a sudden you come up against a team in Europe that are class. Yeah. And then you're looking at them and you're thinking, and then the manager's looking at them thinking, do you know what, this way we play, with all due respect, this is not going to work against this opposition. Yeah. Now, the players have to buy into what the manager's saying, because the players are always going to say, yeah, I can do it, no problem. But the manager has to kind of ease them and say, listen, you're good, but you're not that good. I remember Alan Kirbishley used to tell me back in the day, like I used to play a certain style, and I wouldn't when I got into the England team, I wouldn't, well, not even the England team, when I was playing with under 21s, I was doing really well. He said to me, listen, Carl, you can't switch on and off what you do in training. You've got to train like how you play. And that kind of stuck with me, because he said, if you're training at 100%, not 50, because you think you're reserving your energy for the game, that will make the game easier for you if you're training 5 days a week at high tempo. So the game naturally comes easier. Now, when he told me that, this is why I'm trying to link it to what we're saying. I actually felt bad. I was like, bloody hell,
he's right.
You're not that good then. Do you know what I mean? Because he's telling me I'm not that good. So I've got to train like that so I get this end result. Now, when I'm linking it into what Brendan might have to do to his defenders and just say, listen, that's how we play in the Scottish Premier League. But here, we play a different way, you know? We don't want you to come away from what you actually do and what you're good at on an everyday basis, but we're going to have to tweak it a little bit. That's up to Brendan to get the boys to buy into that. And they will, and then you'll see they'll start to form results against these type of clubs. You got to understand, sometimes there's no shame in just doing two blocks of 5 and then getting them on the counter attack. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes
we've got someone up front who can do that counter attack, and Kyogo, he's the quickest striker I've seen
there's no shame in it. No, I don't understand why managers want to just go and play. No, we're not changing up. No, you have to sometimes because the opposition is better than you. Accept it. Or else you turn over, and then it's not good for the morale of the team. Then there's other implications that involves. And then you just go down and you lose form, and then you don't want to do that to your team. So you just got to try and...
We've got a chance to rectify it.
Just
playing Atalanta.
Play what's in front of you. Play what's in front of you.
Good advice.
Right, before we go any further, Carlton, we have a feature, a regular feature in the podcast called Franks for the Memories, okay? And I asked the guest... 5 questions about Frank's life and times. I'm not expecting you to know the answers, so one of these, one or two of these are kind of option A or option B. But I want to see if you can go to the top of the leaderboard. Okay, so question number 1 is: before he signed for West Ham, Frank secretly met boss John Lyall in an M1 service station for signing talks. Was that service station A, Toddington, or B, Newport Pagnell?
I'm going Newport.
No, wrong. Wrong.
It's Toddington. It was a famous...
Past 2 in the morning.
It was a
past 2 in the morning I met him.
A famous moment in the history of Toddington service station.
I don't know why I said Newport. I thought you'd been on a night out over there.
I was down to sign for Luton.
Over in Wales or somewhere.
Yeah.
Question number 2. It was while being introduced to a former Prime Minister before the 1988 Scottish Cup final, Frank thanked that Prime Minister for reducing income tax for high earners. Was it A, Margaret Thatcher, or B, John Major?
John Major, innit?
No,
it's not a good start, Carlton.
Maggie presented the trophy.
You know John, because I met John Major the other day.
Oh, there you go.
Talk about you, Mecca. I didn't talk about you, but I met him the other day. That's why it was in the forefront of my mind.
I would have been impressed if you met Maggie Thatcher the other day.
Mate.
The beauty of this story is, like, if you think of Scotland during the poll tax, right? Maggie Thatcher was like the most despised person in Scotland, she had to meet the teams before the cup final under the stand. She couldn't go out on the pitch because the booing would have been so bad. And Frank was the only person that was prepared to shake her hand and say, well done.
Yeah, I was on 60% tax. She took it down to 40, so I thought, thanks very much.
Yeah, well done, thank you very much. 20% be good.
So question 3, a golf question. Frank got his first hole-in-one at the 173-yard 9th hole at Turnberry in 2018. Did he use a 6 or a 7 iron?
I think he's overhit it.
There's one behind.
So I'm going 6.
No.
Oh my God!
Listen, I'm worried maybe getting a granny here. Maybe get a granny. Right, so question number 4.
I got all 3 wrong, by the way. Not even one guess right.
Well, you've got 2 chances. 2 chances.
I don't even know what these are.
Right, so the 4th question. Frank scored 2 against Rangers in the Old Firm New Year derby at the start of 1998. Who was in goals for Rangers for that second goal? Was it Terry Butcher or Graham Roberts?
Oh. Graham Roberts.
Yeah, you get one.
Excellent. Right, so final question. That's to try and make it 3-2. How often does Frank get his highlights done?
Thanks very much. I didn't know.
How often does Frank get his hair highlights done? Is it once a month or once every 2 months?
It's once a month. He's too vain.
Oh, no, once every 2 months.
Oh, well.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I get cut every month, but
Highlights every month.
And the
every 2
highlights
months.
are done every 2. All
Every
right,
2. Only when
I'll
it's
keep that in mind.
I'm getting rid of the silver.
At least it wasn't a granny. You
Wasn't
got
a
one.
granny, yeah.
So what? So obviously people will associate you with talkSPORT and the weekend sports bar. You enjoy that?
Yeah, love it. Do you know what it is with talkSPORT? I really, when I first went on, I was doing the breakfast show, and that was probably, was that 2021 or 20?
Was that with Ali and Laura Woods?
Yeah, it was during the pandemic, and Ali couldn't come down obviously because everyone was on lockdown, and it's too far. And I live over near Croydon, just gone past Purley. So it's one train in for me to get in to the studio. So it was me. I'll come in like once a week at one stage, working with Laura, sometimes 2 times a week during the pandemic period. And yeah, that really got me into the media, to be honest. It was an eye-opening thing just to be. It was nerve-wracking, don't get me wrong. And I was diabolical at the time. I was shit, to be honest. Just a footballer with no. I had the banter, but I had no. I couldn't structure a sentence. I jumped from one conversation to another. My head was all over the place. But now you can see that I like talking. I can structure a conversation. So I was actually learning on the job, like I'm doing with the loans managing.
Yeah.
But you put me in front of something, and because I think I've got a personality that wants to learn and wants to grow. You'll see me grow in any kind of field that I go in. So it won't be a pretty sight at the start. Don't get me wrong. Just bear with me.
Yeah.
I'll get there. And I think that's partly to do with my personality. That I've got to laugh. I laugh at my own jokes. I laugh at myself, and that's what.
That's why we're such good company together, mate.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like people this is one thing I learned about radio and media. People like the audience they want to hear a little bit of obviously insight and everything, but they actually, what does the crowd want? What does people actually want? They want you to make them feel better about themselves, right?
Entertained.
Yeah? If I make them feel that they're cleverer than me or they're smarter than me, then that's great radio for them. They're like, yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's shit. He's that. He can't even form a sentence. All of that stuff. And I kind of I held on to that. I was thinking, do you know what? I'm going to get better just because of that. Because you lot are slaughtering me on my Twitter saying, he's this, he's that. But slowly they've got used to me. I've got better. They've given me the room to enjoy it now. And I've just signed a new contract with talkSPORT, to be honest.
Brilliant.
Great. They've really helped me through a period where I'd never knew that I could get this far in. I just thought it was just a time at the moment thing, but they've been brilliant with me, man. And
I don't think that. I think, listen, you've been great on it, mate.
When you've got people like that supporting you, Macca, you can do anything in the world.
So is the studio in the news building then?
Yeah, it's the news building. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the 17th floor.
Yeah, 17th floor, you know it.
I've been in there a few times myself, my previous job. Yeah, I mean, it's got a great view as well, a great place to do your work.
It's a lovely view of the world.
Apart from Jim White, you got to see Jim White every now and then.
But Jim's a great guy.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
He invited me to do the deadline day this year. So it was on the YouTube, and we was all talking and everything. And it was on the day I was doing the sports bar as well on a Friday. And Jim's brilliant, isn't he? He's like he knows his stuff. I love him to
death. He's great.
It's interesting because
he's such a great character. He's a good guy. He's teetotal now as well, isn't he? He's
he's been very open. He's been very honest and frank about that. But he struggles with alcohol.
He always says it. He says, "No, I don't have a drink now. I'm good. Like, I don't need all of that."
Yeah,
but he's like an uncle. He's like one of those uncles that you'll say, "Listen, He'll give you word of advice and everything. So that's why I love him. And then you got the different characters, like you got Ali, you got Alan Brazil.
Yeah.
Top people. They kind of steered me through what I should and what I shouldn't do. They kept on spurring me on, say, Coley, you've got this. So it's like a family environment, and I'm part of the family now. I feel really good with the people that are surrounding me. All the bosses are really good as well. That's been encouraging me. So I've got
the part of a football team, is it?
It's like West Ham. It's like another family away from my family.
Yeah.
So I'm just I'm having a great time at the moment. I'm not going to lie.
You can tell the way you come across. It's great.
No, it is. It's really
I do
good.
listen to it, and it's been great. Been great listening to it, mate.
I just like to look. I'm a people's man. I'd go down the pub, have a beer with you, and we'll have a laugh. Why should that change on the radio? Do you know what I mean? And turn into something I'm not.
Yeah.
I just one thing I learned is just to be yourself and be consistent. You don't need to be trying to paint a different picture for somebody. If they don't like you, then they can piss off in it at the end of the day. Because that's what we're here for.
The last time I went for a beer with you, we may have had too many.
Oh, mate, yeah, definitely we have.
Don't believe that for a minute.
We ended up doing press ups on the snooker table.
You did press up the snooker table.
Yeah, and there was nobody underneath us as well.
Mate, we don't even remember what happened. It was a great time. It was a great time.
Good fun.
I was going to crack a joke, but I'll leave it. Let's not get cancelled. Let's not get cancelled. We're in the international break at the moment, so England have got. Actually, they're playing Greece tonight. The podcast is going out.
Our boy Mavropanos.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. How he gets on with that one.
But the big debate is Harry Kane, and being a former England number 9 yourself, I was just driving in here listening to talkSPORT, and they were discussing, who's the natural successor, who's going to be England number 9, whenever Harry is no longer there.
Well, that's where I think they're trying to bleed in Solanke. He's that type of player. He's big, strong. Ivan Toney, he chucked the bag out, didn't he? He went for the bag. And then, so the only one I could look at, Ollie Watkins, I don't see him as an out-and-out number 9 like that. I see him as a 10, really. I think he'll be great. If he played with me, he'd be great because I'd take all that pressure off him and he can, he loves to run and get in behind and be on the shoulder. So I see him as a different type of number 9 to a Harry Kane. We're going to have to change our style of play, definitely, when Harry Kane does retire from that role. But it doesn't look like Harry Kane's never relied on speed, so I don't think he'll be retiring so soon anyway. I don't think anyway. I think you'll have a good few years behind him. You'll get to the next World Cup and we'll see what happens from there. But I just feel that we're not blessed with a load of strikers in the world, not just England.
Not now that Ivan Toney's went off the radar, didn't he? I wanted him to go. I was praising him. I wanted him to go to West Ham, mate, because I thought it would be ideal for West Ham.
It would have been perfect.
With the players that we've got down there, I thought it'd have been absolutely perfect.
Definitely. But that's not what he wanted for himself. He wanted to go and get some money in his pocket. And listen, you can't hate on him for that.
No, I can't. I tell you, it's a short career.
Yeah, the club, and you know how it is with clubs. Like clubs they're not gonna help you after your career if you ain't done well.
Don't I know it, mate?
You've got to make sure. Yeah, so they're gonna.
To be fair, West Ham has.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, for me, West Ham's looked after me. Do you know what I mean? But that's not the same story for everybody. No. And when you look at some of the journeys that, say, Ivan Toney's been on, remember, he's not been earning a lot of money from the days he was young. He was actually not earning the money that his talent actually required. So it's only when he went to Newcastle, and then I think he had a little bit of money there. Then he went down, didn't he? Went to eventually Peterborough. Then he had to work his way back up to Brentford, and Brentford done really well at Brentford. So look, he deserves to go and get the money if that's what he really.
How old is he?
Was he 29 now or something like that? You know, so he's not a young puppy anymore. So he's got to go and fill his boots, I think, and that's what I think is the best thing for him, to be honest.
Well, time's moving on. So before we wrap up, prediction time. What I was going to ask you. Well, what would constitute a good season for West Ham as far as league position at the end of the season is concerned, and where you think they might climb to?
For me, I said it at the start of the season. I said I think anything top 10. Forget 10th even. That's a successful season for me. When you've, as I said at the start of this podcast, nine players in to try and bed them in and try and get everybody playing from the same tactic book is going to be really, really hard. And having a new manager as well, and the training structure would change. The way their travels changed. So everything is new. So that takes at least half a season to bed in. Then you've got to try and get them playing proper football within that period as well. So by Christmas, we'll see where we're at and if we can kick on. But I'm saying top 10 for me would be.
I loved them at the weekend. I loved them at the weekend, Carlton. And it was enthusiasm that he was showing every goal that went in. It was punching the air, and it was more relief. Yeah. And I'm thinking that's the way the boys can play. Because let's be honest, there's some good players in that team, you know, and it's the way they can play. That's what they can do. So it's just got to get that every week, really.
Lopetegui just needs time. That's all it is. We can see he's a well-renowned manager. He's a real good manager. We know that. So we know that he can bring something good to the table, attacking wise. There's a contrast to what David Moyes was, because they were more defensive. So changing the mindset of the defensive mindset into an attacking one, that's not overnight. It's just not overnight. You're gonna have to it's gonna take a little while for the boys to say, do you know what? We might have to change the way we think, not just what if they get the ball off us. Now it is they're not going to get the ball off us and we're going to score. They just got to change the mindset.
Yeah, well done. That's a good way to finish.
It is.
It's a brilliant way to finish.
I was just going to say before we finish that I was having a debate with my pals at the weekend in the pub about what was Celtic's greatest ever goal, whether it was Stevie Chalmers in Lisbon or Henrik Larsson in the 6-2 game, or whether it was Big Carlton's roly-poly in off the hand at Inverness.
I'm taking it, hands down.
I think that just edged it.
Yeah, it's a roly-poly that got me.
You need to go home and watch it on YouTube.
Mate, you're
I have to say, absolute pleasure having you on. It's been great. Some of the names we've got coming on to the podcast have been brilliant. And so just a reminder that everybody...
Cheers, pal.
So he's attracting the names. Everyone loves Macca, you know. So
cheers, mate.
So true. And before we finish, a reminder to everybody: subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It's on the screen now. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all the usual things. And we'll be back again with another. We've got a cracking next guest.
Can we not say no?
Aye, we can say.
We've got a pal of yours. It'll be Mr. Chesney Hawks coming on next week.
No way!
Yeah, say it. You want
to get the guitar out? He's going to get the guitar. He's got to do a tune for you.
He's got to do the one and only.
We'll get him singing. But listen, Carl, thanks very much, mate. It's been an absolute blast. Cheers, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Carl, I'm coming down to see you, pal, so I'll talk to you soon.
See you soon, man.
Take care. Thanks,
for joining us in the latest episode of Let Me Be Frank.